Welcome back to This Week in Jump, Part 3.
Going on, number 6, My Hero Academia, Chapter 227.
So, in the last chapter, Toga murdered a bunch of people by using Ochako's ability to drop people from the sky. Anyways.
And then she promptly passes out from the exhaustion of being bloodied and beaten to a pulp.
Also, maybe overusing her quirk.
That too. I would assume evolution would be very demanding on a person. Just look at Godzilla, Shin Godzilla.
Look at Deku in the previous chapter when he tried out Black Whip. Like, it really hurts my arms, but I think I can still use them.
So, Reed Destro is told that... And I think they changed her name for this, because I don't remember her being Curious. I remember it was like Chitose. But now I guess they changed her name to Curious. And they just call her Miss Curious. And he's saddened at the loss. But they must move on. And we have Tomoyasu berate Garin because he's like, why did you want to use the footage anyway of Toga? Well, they can't even use it because, number one, she's not a
martyr.
Tragic heroine is what they wanted to use the footage for. And yeah, as a martyr. So they have to do something else. And he's like, you people are crazy. And it's like, yeah, you lack imagination.
Yeah. Like, they need to help. The League of Villains need to help this guy.
So Spinner asks, how much longer until Giganto gets there?
Yeah.
An hour and 20 minutes, so they gotta keep fighting. And then you have a campaign election truck arrive and relay the information. Attention, I have tragic news. Miss Curious has fallen in battle, but do not let her life be in vain. And then you see a mob of people.
Yeah, a literal wave of people come rushing down this street.
All focusing on Shigaraki.
Yeah, and Shigaraki, he sees this wave of people as just a black blur, and you get a small memory glimpse.
It's like a fragmented memory.
Yeah, of his sister showing him a secret. It's like, oh, this is Grandma. Like, and this was the inheritor of All for One.
And when he remembers this, he starts to feel sick in his stomach. He turns around to face the mob, and then it starts with him touching a guy's face, and then you see him digging and decaying his face, and then the entire group is decayed.
Yeah, he has manifested
AoE.
His quirk to be more than just contact. It is now a virus-like spread of decay.
Area of
Yeah,
effect.
like you said.
Like that's probably like most people know AoE, area of effect.
Yeah.
And Spinner's like, wait, he wasn't touching those people. How did he do that?
Yeah.
And Shigaraki actually puked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Not from that sense, I'm sure from using his quirk too much. Maybe an evolution that maybe he was holding on to, or this is the first practical application of multiple enemies coming at him at once. All the other times have been solo
Possible. And Dabi is attacked by an ice user who has giant ice hands.
Yeah.
And slams into the ground. And he's in like a big Eskimo parka.
Yeah.
And all you can see are like little beady eyes. All I can think of is ice climbers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And Dabi's like, ice, huh? And the chapter ends there. So super short. I really enjoyed the if it was an evolution of his quirk, like where it's a virus type.
Yeah.
Like OP, cool.
It's neat to see the villains. I harped on it before. I take it back. This is a cool arc that we're in.
It's showing that not only are Deku and them learning more and getting stronger and actually perfecting their quirks more, the villains are also doing the same thing.
You don't need school to teach you cool things. You can do it yourself. You might have to be a little crazy to do so. You might need help from a mysterious doctor.
You can do it in the real world. You don't need Dr. Wily.
Yeah. Go watch the new Sonic movie when it comes out.
For the memes. Number 5, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, Chapter 157.
Alrighty.
So we're concluding Akaza's death. He sees his father. He's like, I'm home, I'm back. He sees his master, his would-have-been wife, and says that he's home. And then I don't know if they see the flames of her there, or that's just assumed to be there. And Tenzuro collapses.
Right next to Gin. Gyu.
Gin. Yeah, Gyu. And he's like, Tenzuro? And he stumbles, and he stops himself from falling by using his sword, but he also passes out. So those two have collapsed, and the crow goes around and lets people know that they've collapsed from exhaustion.
Kaza's gone.
Mm-hmm. And the uppermost moon, Kokushubo? I've only seen his name like a few times. It says that he was weak, and he was actually going to attain like a higher level of power from recovering from losing his head. Because if you keep developing, you develop less weaknesses. That's the whole idea. And you have Domu, the second moon, because Akaza's the third moon.
Mm-hmm.
Says that he's been he's dead now? Well, he's phrase, I guess I'll never know. And he's like, what are you talking about? Kano is still there, still extremely irritated with him because he killed her sister. Not blood, but sister in arms.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells him, and he goes on a tangent first, sorry. He goes on a tangent saying that he likes to eat girls, and he told them to eat girls because of their nutritious value, because they can grow babies on the inside of them.
Akaza would never do so.
But now he's dead, and then he looks solemn for a second, and then cries, and he's like, he was my best friend, but... And she tells him, that's enough. You can stop spouting your lies. I know every word that you're saying is a lie. And he's like, well, what? And she's like, well...
Very scientific standpoint.
That there's no pallor, there's no change in your face. You would get flushed if somebody you actually cared about was dead. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, it's because I'm a demon. And then she's like, no, demons have blood that circulates too, pointing out that that's still wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's like, she died, and she was sorry for you. You don't feel anything, do you? And that blank stare is so creepy.
Yeah, like, she's seen through my facade, like, I need to, like, she's seen through my facade, I don't need to try anymore.
And she points out that people are born so they can feel joy and feel emotion, and she's like, well, you can't feel anything. You're completely empty. You're basically a shell. And she asks again, why are you born? With a sadistic look on her face, and I love it. It's so good.
It makes her feel, in that panel, like, superior to the upper moon.
Yes.
Looking down at him.
Yes. It's great.
Yeah. And it's like...
And then his demeanor completely changed. You know, I've spoken to many girls, but you know what? You're spiteful. And he actually gets serious for once. Because this entire time that he's been fighting and he killed off... God, what's her name? The other pillar sister. He didn't really react. He basically was kind of just there and would just fake like he had emotions. And he's not doing that anymore. And she's like, well, because I hate you. That's pretty much why. And let me rephrase that. You don't seem smart. And after still taunting him, he begins to attack her from behind. She dodges.
Facing a counterattack immediately thereafter.
And cuts his torso. He makes a backswing, misses again, and now his entrails are hanging out a little bit. And she's like, no, she's reacting faster. She might be actually better than who I was fighting before.
Why does she have, like, or why are those flowers there? Is that her ability?
No. Yes, but no. It's kind of like how Tanjiro has fire.
Okay. Who
Well,
has waves? Who has water waves? Gyu? Okay.
Early on in Demon Slayer, Tanjiro has water, but he eventually finds out that his affinity is for fire, so he uses fire.
But he was able to use water.
Correct.
Huh. Okay.
So I think hers was like flowers or butterflies, like that's kind of like their motif. So it makes sense that like when she dodges, it would be the flowers there. I think that's also for like stylistic purposes.
Okay.
But yeah, so he pointing out that she probably is more skillful than she was than Hashira.
That's pretty neat.
So I was like, cool chapter, cool. I loved the taunting. I thought that was really nice. I was like,
the superiority over an upper moon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
making him feel so low that he had to change his entire outlook on things and just give up acting like he's so much better was great. Or acting like he doesn't care and he has to actually give a crap now. I guess is probably the better way of saying that. Number 4, One Piece, chapter 942.
Yeah. So, got a flashback with...
It's a brief one.
it is pretty brief, but with the Wano country beforehand, getting some like visitors to the country of Wano. Like, we might not want them here, so we need to drive them away. Like, we need to show them the force that we have, that they can't just come in here thinking that we have gold and all this other stuff. Like, even if we did, we'd never give it to people outside of here.
Yep.
But
this is all from Yasui's perspective, and you can tell why people wouldn't have really been able to recognize him. He doesn't really look anything like how he does at the end.
Yeah, other than
his hair.
His hair. His stern demeanor was like the focal point.
Yeah, he came off very stern, like in all of the panels, and what he was saying, and how he was acting towards
the son of the Shogun.
Yeah, I was gonna say whose face is still mostly obscured.
I wonder why they're still hiding people's faces and stuff.
They must be in the prisons. I don't know.
Could the son of
it could be
the same guy?
It could be more complicated.
Or it could be a throwaway character. Who knows?
You gotta keep it a mystery.
Yeah.
Oda knows what he's doing. He's written everything down, and he has like a big master plan. So that's why his pieces will fit together. And
his One Piece, haha.
All
right, so
we can leave that one in.
so we have everyone from the surrounding town of the gathering at the flower capital, where a lot of captives and
people with the moon tattoo.
Yasui is tied up to a giant pole.
He looks like he's being crucified.
He's ready for his execution. He's already been beaten up a little bit. His broken teeth, swollen eye. But everyone sees his hair. And some people show up saying this. They still refer to him as the Lord. Their Lord. And
I think it's funny that all of the funeral attention has now gone to him.
Yeah, instead of a beautiful lady who was cut down, now it's this ugly-looking hedgehog. But the people love him more.
Sonic! Sonic!
Number one. Gotta go fast.
And now the people from Ebisu Town are making their way into the capital. Of course, the guards don't want them there, but they're going to have a hard time keeping them away. Toko is still making her way to go to the capital. And Yasui says how wondrous a sight Wano is. And he points out how the beauty has basically been ruined by Orochi, who's allowed it to be polluted and corrupted.
Yeah, from Orochi as well as Kaido.
Yes.
He is publicly denouncing these guys.
The rulers.
Knowing that he has a very big audience of people who love him, adore him,
Mm-hmm.
and even on the other side who hate him.
And yeah, people saying, no, don't say that. And he tells them that he created the image that was going around as a prank.
Yeah. Like, these people are in prison for no reason other than falling for my pranks. They're just...
Or they happen to have the tattoo already.
Yeah, they're just dumb. They're just dumb and stupid.
And they're like, wait, we arrested innocent people?
Yeah, apparently.
I'm curious as to the reaction that we get out of Kinemon.
Kinemon, I think that's him discovering, like
wait,
is
he was
that,
alive?
Yeah, that's what I think that panel is for.
Oh, okay. That's what I took it as, so I'm glad I wasn't just out there. And Orochi is going there to personally kill Yasui.
Yeah.
And he's like, any last words?
Like,
and it's at this point where he starts having inner thoughts about how Momonosuke is the future.
yeah, he's a blank sheet.
Yes.
Like, he can grow and be designed any which way he's going to be good.
And that they have comrades in place already to basically carry on the work.
Like, my job is done for the most part. There's not much more I can do other than unify these people. Even in my death, that's what I'll do. His last words.
And Toko is now finally there in visible view.
She got there quick. I don't know how close they really were between, complete snowscape and the flower capital.
Well, it depends on how long he was giving his little speech, because we don't have exactly a timetable.
Even a speech doesn't take more than 2 hours. I doubt they would let him talk for 2 hours. Even so, this is the little girl running.
Yeah, so Zoro's still following, dead on her, right behind her. And he basically goes out laughing. I don't have much to say about his final words. So I'll make a grand journey. In fact, I'll go singing.
Yeah. Like, the last thing he hears before dying is Otoko yelling out, "Daddy."
Yes. And he asks for forgiveness in his thoughts. And then I guess the other guard starts shooting him to kill him faster, I guess.
Or to make it look like Orochi didn't just miss that shot immediately.
That's embarrassing, maybe. And then he falls forward. And she's just screaming out, "Daddy, Daddy," and everybody is making grinning faces, and they look like they're extremely distraught because they're like, "Lord Yasu," and they're like, "Ah." And then they're just laughing as he hits the ground, but they're crying. Their eyes are just bursting with tears, which I guess you could say are tears of laughter, but they're also like tears of sadness. And Zoro, what's so funny about that?
Like, my daddy's dead. Otoko.
And they reveal that it's the smile fruits.
Yeah, the smile fruits
have taken all of their emotions, all of their expressions, and laughing is about all they can do.
Yeah. It's like that hit a lot harder at the end.
I was like, oh.
Like, Smile's like, okay, I thought that was just,
I thought that was just a name.
A clever name for a product or a byproduct. But making it so that you have to smile and get rid of other kinds of negative emotions like that is a great way to control a nation.
See, I thought it was weird that when he was running around as Tony Yasu, he was smiling all the time, and why Otoko was smiling all the time. I thought that was weird, but I guess that's why.
Yeah. A lot of these people have eaten a lot of smile fruit.
Either that or being around it being produced maybe has that side effect. I don't know.
It was produced on the other islands, though.
Yeah.
Right?
But you have all the people that are smile fruit users.
Well, I was saying.
I mean,
more,
how would
more
you
consumption?
Do you think that they also made the inhabitants eat it? I mean, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that
some of the
byproducts that
like
weren't
the
able,
failed versions.
yeah, not able to give powers, were given to the people to eat to keep them alive as a sign of goodwill to force them into getting
servitude.
Yeah, and getting rid of their emotions.
Possible. Next is number 3. For me, The Promised Neverland.
Okay.
And it's mostly because this chapter got cut short, from what I can tell, because it's 10 pages and they're on hiatus. So something happened, I guess, between the author and the artist, and I don't know which one, or if it was just like a creative decision that they just decided just to be like, okay, we'll pause this.
Or maybe they had to make a short chapter because of Hachimaru taking up such a big part.
That is also possible, although
Neolation wasn't in here, Boruto wasn't in here.
True. But the size of Jump itself, like the actual issues, they actually fluctuate in thickness and in amount of pages.
I'm sure there's still a limit to how much
there probably are. You're probably right. But it doesn't with the hiatus it feels a little off.
Yeah. So
we have a person saying, "Oh, where's Emma?" Oh, that's right, she's gone.
How much time has passed?
Yes. And he asks, "Who am I?" And it's Old Man Ray.
Yeah. I was right. Time skip.
No. I don't think this is...
How many years has it been? Who am I? Sounds like a time skip to me.
I don't think it's a time skip in the traditional sense. I think it's a time skip...
In his mind?
No. Their bodies in this realm have aged, but if they leave the realm, they revert back to their actual... Like, I'm trying to think of like an example where a lot of... Relativity. It's relativity. Where if you... Like, if a person's moving near the speed of light away and then coming back, and they came back to Earth, Earth will be completely different. So they traveled at the speed of light for like a year, they came back to Earth and like 10 years have passed or something like that. I'm not sure what the exact...
Other instances where you dream and you believe that you've lived in this dream as that version of yourself for several months, hours, years.
And it's like a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think it's crazy. The mind is a very powerful thing.
Yeah.
So... Then we get a flashback in Old Man Ray's mind about... They went through the hatch from the previous chapter. Then they start making their way through the shelter. Emma pulls out the pen and remembers the coordinates on like how to follow the path. It's like go 10 re this direction, 10 re that, and so on and so forth. They have to go in like 6 different directions for 10 re. And this will get them to the wall. Or according to the pen.
Yeah, we get another picture of Carl.
And then we can meet him. So they first start going in that direction. They come to a door. They open it, and the room's upside down.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, the monitor room."
They go through next one and slightly rotate it again.
Yep. And then they're walking sideways.
And they go back through
the monitor room
previous.
Yeah.
And it's been flipped again.
It's been flipped in the opposite direction, and now there's an arrow on the table.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's just like a maze. And then Old Man Ray, I guess, has a thought that says, I thought we could solve the riddle. I thought we could win against the darkness on the ceiling. And how abrupt that end is, I'm just so... I just want to know why. I want to know why from, like, why was the chapter short? And I want to know, why is Emma not there?
Mhm.
I want to know. So that got me like super intrigued, and that's why I put it that high. Despite being like very short, it set up a question in my mind, and it's been bothering me.
Yeah, because we saw as soon as they entered in here and they went to Grace Farms, they were separated. Why couldn't it happen again? Why couldn't
True.
it happen for a much longer period of time?
True.
Like,
But they were able to make contact relatively quickly, and they didn't lose audio contact with each other because Ray was still able to hear Emma,
yeah.
and vice versa.
Strange for sure.
But yeah, not having a chapter next week and it leaving it on that, I'm Promised Neverland starved.
What if? No, I'm not saying it.
Don't say it. Don't. You were gonna say
I
World
don't-
Trigger. You were gonna say World Trigger, weren't
Yeah.
you? It better. I hope
just
to God
Take a very
No.
long hold.
that was about a year and a half or 2 years, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
where World Trigger was off. I don't want this to go to Square
I
because
remember
it will take forever.
I remember reading it disappearing, watching all the anime,
And it was still gone.
and yeah,
It's
we have the anime right now, right? Enjoy it while you can.
well, the anime for Promised Neverland's on hiatus till
Oh, is it?
next year. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm like I said, I'm Promised Neverland starved.
Oh.
So this 10 pages will have to be all I get as far as my questions answered for the next 2 weeks, I guess, until the 25th. Still a good chapter. Like I still liked it, and still it did what a manga is supposed to do. It made me ask questions.
Yeah.
I should always feel like that. Next is number 2 at Black Clover, chapter 204.
Okay.
This is a flashback chapter, but that's okay. Because it takes place 500 years ago in the palace.
Flashback. But this is okay because we have Nero just dressed up very normal like. She didn't have no. She was from nobility, but she was seen with her magic capabilities.
Opening, closing.
Yeah. Being so boring.
It's not a combat type of magic, really, when you think about it.
So
and,
she was
lot
made
common
a
sense.
servant. She was going to serve this eccentric prince that people didn't want to. He needed someone to be around him to take care of him. And like, great, I'm going to be a babysitter.
And this was the prince.
Yeah. This is the prince. This is immediately starts off like
He's impressed by her type of magic.
oh hi, sorry, I'm doing some research right now. But while I'm doing this, what kind of magic do you use? Like sealing magic. Oh, I've never heard of that. That sounds unusual and terrific. I want to find out the applications that you can use that on. Like, oh, and she's had very angry looking eyes this entire time when he was talking to her,
Her
singing
eyes
praises.
widened.
Yeah, like, oh, okay.
Is it Sikri? Or Sisri is her name. Like her actual name, not Nero. It's Sikri, isn't it? Like they say
Circre.
Sikri? Sikri?
It has the accent over the E, pointing to the right. So, like in like Spanish and French have used the same one.
Sikri.
Sikri. So
The pair get close. She helps him create magical items,
yeah.
and then eventually she notices that he and the princess start going off more frequently and spending time out. She follows them and finds that they're spending time with the elves.
Also, the magic item he creates is he makes a dress for Sekri.
Yeah.
But she's like, no.
No, I don't want that dress that I will later be wearing.
Yeah, like, obviously they become close much later on.
Yes. And then we see the magical stones that were able to revive him. So
So the elves are there. They're growing the bond between humans and elves.
But they say that he was already manipulating the situation, obviously referring to the devil. The particular devil that we keep talking about. The prince is called by his father to meet him at the palace, and then he's suddenly bound by the minister.
Using word magic. Just bind.
And you see the dark miasma spirit. And the face is obviously the devil's face.
He's not manifesting himself with a real body like he is right now in present time. He is still an amalgamation of magic.
He's more spirit form, I guess.
Yes.
And as such, he tells him that he's going to go and go get a real body, and then he will fight him. And so he takes off. And Sekri... Well, the prince calls out asking if anybody's around to help unbind him. Sekri appears, unseals it. The pair rush off. And they go... And they find that everyone's dead.
Yeah, and there's just piles and piles of bodies just strewn all over the floor. Like, that took a long time to color in and shade, because you can tell individual bodies in that mess.
Yeah, it's very distinct.
Yeah, and you see in the middle of all of them
is a lone figure.
Yeah.
And that's the only one that's cast in white.
Yeah.
In addition to, like, the princess.
Yeah, and that thing is holding the princess's dead body with their grimoire out.
And it was licked.
Yeah.
And he only had a moment of doubt, but I guess that was enough for the devil to take over him and kill everyone. But he was able to regain his consciousness, and that's why he was like, oh, he regained his heart.
Yeah, he wasn't able to get a physical body.
Yes.
At least 100%. They're using the magic stones to try to give the devil a body or give it form. So that if he is to die, then maybe this thing will die as well.
This is the last selfish request. And then you see the demon below. At least I'm pretty sure, like, this is, like, kind of odd paneling. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be, like, it came out from the ground. I thought this was just an underground shot, where you have all of the dead bodies at the top, licked, and the prince. They're just here on the top, and then below is the demon that would come up and later be defeated at the beginning of the intro of, like, the anime.
I thought just by how his hair was, I thought that's what released his hair falling down and leaked.
He just transforms into it.
Transforms into it. That's why it's crying. That's why its teardrops are straight down. I think
he literally manifested and transformed into it.
Yes, especially since the stones are on him. I think that's exactly what happened. And boy, if you watch the Black Clover anime, you've seen the same opening
over and over and over.
Literally every episode. It's fine. We've seen this fight. We don't need to see it again. We don't need to see it in the manga form again. Please, no.
I would still like to see why he was sealed on it, though.
Yes, I do. I want to see the end of that. I don't want to see the fight. I've seen the fight. He summons forth a bunch of light swords. He throws them at him. Then he seals him with a circle of light. Creates a giant sword, stabs him through it, and he explodes. The end. That's not what. If that's not what I see next week, it's probably getting number 1. If that's what I see, I'm putting this below 10.
You're not gonna put it below 10. Who are you kidding? Who are you lying to? Number 1, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Alright, I don't even remember what happened in Jujutsu Kaisen, to be honest. I remember I saw this. I saw the color spread, but I don't remember seeing anything else.
So yeah, we have Megumi realizing that they're all resonating, the fingers correlating to when Itadori had eaten one of them, eaten one of Sukuna's fingers. And that this character, this curse, actually resembles one from the detention facility, but is like a much more powerful version and has much more strength. He gets thwacked in the face, but is able to kind of dodge and not take as much damage from it.
Yeah, his weapon breaks.
Yeah. And they're going back and forth. Megumi summons his divine dog to try and counteract it. Curse comes up with a punch, cuts to a brief flashback of him getting punched in the face by Gojo, who he asked for supplementary training.
Like, all you're doing is just beating me up. Like, beggars can't be choosers.
So he's just like, well, you basically hold back. Is basically what he comes to. Is just like, you're always trying to sacrifice yourself.
Oh, sacrifice yourself, but also he's also trying to save face, trying to portray himself as something more than what he is.
Yeah, and it gives the baseball game like more reason to exist. He's like, well, why did you bunt? You sacrificed yourself. And he's like, well, we all die alone, but what you should have done was swing for the fences like Itadori. And he tells him, also, you probably have more growth potential than him. And to die and then win and dying victoriously are two completely different things. So I liked that exchange of telling him, it's like, look, just try.
Yeah.
Try your hardest.
Which, for some people, it's like, yeah, I always try my hardest. What are you expecting? Like, no, do you understand what that means? For one example, when I was working at a not to be named retail store, for what they were paying me, I put very minimal effort into there. As soon as my time was up, I was out of there. Did not want to be there. It was not good work. When I was working as a tutor and being paid much more, people appreciated me. I actually tried. I was going out of my way to create supplementary, one-of-a-kind teaching implements for my students. Like, I wasn't being paid for those hours. You could say that's kind of dumb, but I was trying my best for those kids.
Yeah. I get you.
Like, for some people, trying and giving it all you got are hard, but when you do it, like, you can do some pretty crazy things.
And yeah, give it your all, and it's okay to be selfish. So Megumi wakes up from being knocked out, and he realizes that his technique has been completed, didn't get destroyed, and he's like, this is the end for me. And he looks like he's about to get back into fighting, and he's like, never mind. Stands up and decides to do something completely different. And he keeps repeating, like, freely back then, picture in your mind somebody who surpasses limits. Think of a future me where I've already gotten the area expansion type techniques. And Chimera Shadow Garden. Even though it's not complete, him utilizing that was the reason why I was like, that's cool. Seeing him completely lose his composure and just his face is just great.
Yeah, his delinquent roots definitely show there, and he manifests what looks like a sea of
his
familiars.
Chimeras, yeah, his little shadow.
Yeah, working for him, restraining the curse.
It's still not named.
Yeah, restraining the curse, dealing damage. and surpassing his limits. He's using the frog familiars, controlling them to maneuver around this pool of familiars while dodging attacks.
And it creates an opening for him to kick him in the face more freely. He gets hit, and the curse decides to do an AoE to try and get rid of the
It looks
technique.
like Megumi got hit in the face.
He got hit
in
got through his hand, and then like his head was bleeding a little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess it didn't pierce his skull.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was weird too, but I assumed that this was pierced through the hand, hit the head, because you have this other panel where you see like
he's still
what
there.
resembles blood dripping, but he's still conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And then the curse tries to dispel the Chimera Garden, gets rid of it for the most part, and is laughing victoriously.
Because he doesn't see.
He doesn't realize Megumi is behind him in his shadow, and has his divine dog's claw pierced through his chest, and he lurches over, and I'm assuming he's defeated because it looks, by lurching forward, it probably killed him, like because it pierced through him.
And he's literally it
looks like he's
fizzing out of existence.
And then Megumi says he's tired, obviously because he used the technique that would require a lot of power, and he's never done it before.
Also, he created a zone inside of another zone already.
Yeah.
He's shown himself that he's stronger than whatever created this zone by manifesting his own in here.
Mm-hmm. So, him winning, I was like, that's cool.
Some growth from Megumi.
You win my number one spot for the week.
There you go.
Then.
Alrighty. That'll wrap up this week in Jump, number 13.
Woohoo!